first graders. All right, so this week we're working on graphs and data. And data is like, how you collected that survey earlier in the week and you went around to people in your house and asked them if they like when you learn at home or at school and you took the tallies down. That's data. That's information that you've collected to tell you about something specific, right? So to tell you specifically about learning from home. And when we have these numbers, we put them in things called charts or graphs, so they're easier for us to see. Instead of just saying the number, you put them in something so you can kind of tell and look at them from a couple different ways. So today we're doing picture graphs or pictographs. And the difference between these and the other graphs you've looked at is you use pictures as your graph. You don't fill in the boxes like with the bar graphs. You don't have the tallies. It's really drawing the pictures, okay? So you start with your title because you want whoever reads your graph to know what it's about. So we're going to talk about favorite fruits because I know you talked about healthy foods with Mrs. Frazier. And so let's say I gave you three choices, apples, pears, and grapes. And if we were really in class, maybe I'd bring the food in and we'd try it and you tell me which of these three is your favorite. And then you would give me, I'd make the tally graph first or the tally chart like we did the other day. And then I'd move it over to my picture graph. But since we're not there, I'm just going to pretend like I've asked all of you, okay? And pretend like I've got my data down here. And I'm going to say that, let's say Nolan likes apples and Natalia likes apples. And let's say I know Asher likes apples and Mason likes apples and Adrian likes apples. And I know Joni Ellis likes apples and Brianna likes apples and Kipton likes apples. Okay? And then let's say, and you can see I'm drawing the picture of the apple. My apples, they're only okay. And then let's say I talk to you about pears, and I know Joel likes pears, and I know that Ivy likes pears, and Emma likes pears, and Haley likes pears. Let's say Carly likes pears, and let's say Cameron likes pears. I hope I didn't already say that. Aiden likes pears, and Tyler likes pears, and Jaden likes pears. All right, and then let's say we went down to grapes, and let's say I know that Ariana likes grapes, and I know that Jamari likes grapes, and Chloe likes grapes, and Jolie likes grapes, and Kellen likes grapes. All right, so there's my picture. So that's the first way you could do your picture graph. You could draw out the fruit in each of the columns, and then you would be able to count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you could write it over here to help you remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now I'm going to erase the grapes to show you a different way you could do it. If you didn't want to draw the pictures of the grapes, you could actually draw a picture of who you were asking. So this tells you that they like grapes, and right here you could draw their face. Okay, so one person, two persons, but see how it needs to be something related to your graph? Like I wouldn't draw like umbrellas as my picture because my graph has nothing to do with umbrellas. These are the people that like grapes, or you draw grapes to represent how many people picked grapes. Does that make sense? Okay, so the most important part about graphs is being able to look at the graph and answer questions about it. And sometimes that's kind of hard. We can answer pretty easily certain questions. For example, if I said, which fruit had the most votes? Most of you could say pears because, you wouldn't just look at its full because pears and apples look like they're the same. But after we counted, you all know 9's bigger than 8. And so you would say that pears had the most votes. And then if I said, which fruit was the least favorite, you would say, well, clearly grapes because first of all, the thing is super empty. Look at all the space that wasn't filled up. And obviously 5 is the lowest number, right? So you would say 5 is the smallest number out of those. The least amount of people picked grapes. Now, the harder questions come when we have to compare two of these numbers together, right? When we have to look at it. So you would say, or sometimes they say, how many people had apples and pears all together? And then you have to add 8 plus 9, right? So you could practice that right now. I know 8 people liked apples and 9 people liked pears. And how many people is that all together? And if you wanted to, you could add that up and you could just count the picture already drawn for you or use another strategy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And you could say, well, all together, 17 people like apples and pears, right? Or the hardest question, though, that we are practicing is how many more? And that's a hard question. So if they say how many more people liked pears than apples? Okay, so they're saying we know that 9 people liked pears, right? And 8 people liked apples. How many more people liked pears? So they're asking you, how many more people would have had to vote for apples for them to be tied, right? So that's when we do our partners. Remember, we say, well, these were the same, and these were the same, 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 same. And who's left without a partner? That's how many more 9 had, right? That's how many more pears had, and it was just 1 more. But you could also do that by saying, I know that pears had 9, and I know apples had only 8. So if I take away the 8 apples, then I'll know how many more pears there were. And if you do 9, take away 8, we know that's 1. Okay? All right, now if you want to, you can make your own graph about, your real favorite fruit or the favorite fruits of the people in your family. But also today, I'd like you to practice on happy numbers because we haven't done that in a little bit. Okay? So thanks for listening to my graphing.